I have already installed the bolt screws and the motors for each axis. I also need to give them limited positions for homing the machine. Hi, welcome to Slow Engineering. I'm David. I knew there were many options to have limit switches. Some machines even have positive and negative limit switches and a home switch. This three-position setup has an advantage in faster homing speed without worrying about crashing. This setup needs to have a control board with a compatible layout. The easiest way is a limit switch on each axis, which also is the home position. The drawback of this is the homing speed needs to be slow to prevent crashing the limit position. For an economical setup, there is only a switch on each axis. Make several brackets for limit switches. The limit switches need to be installed onto the brackets and install the brackets onto the CNC frame. The lever on the limit switch makes the installations need to consider the direction. Make sure the contact parts are easy to trigger the limit switches. Adjust the limit switch position to make proper contact. This type of limit switch has 3 pins. They are COM, NC, and NO. Either an NC setup or an NO setup. The pin COMs needs to be connected. NC as a normal close means the circuit is closed in normal situations. The current continuously flows until the switch is triggered. When the switch is triggered, the current will be blocked and make the circuits open. The NO setup works oppositely. The initial setup comes with an open circuit until the switch is triggered to have current. Usually, an NC setup on this application is more robust than a NO setup. The signal will be triggered even if the wires are damaged. Not like a NO setup will not respond when the wires are damaged and crash the mechanism. Use a multimeter to test the switch before soldering the wires. Switch the multimeter to the sound mode and connect 2 wires to the pin COM and pin NC on the switch. You might hear the sound until you press down the switch. The Y-axis limit switch is at the rear side to make wires easier to manage. It is the same concept on the X-axis. The limit switches are set on the motor side. The only difference is on the Z-axis. The Z-axis is moving on the X-axis, and the wires on the Z-axis have a chance to mess up the X-axis movement. So, the cable chain for the Z-axis is necessary. I printed the cable chains from the Voron 2.4 R2 files and assembled the parts into a chain. I used the fission wires to connect half parts of the chain instead of using zip ties. Insert the Z-axis motor wires and limit switch wires into the chain first. Then, install the chain head to the arm on the motor mount. The chain needs to share the space with the X limit switch brackets at the other end. After limit switches are installed, move the axis to make sure the limit switches are triggerable. This is the end of the limit switches installation. The next video will talk about the electronics of this CNC machine. Is a 3D printer mainboard with Marlin usable on this CNC router? Like, share this video and subscribe to this channel if you learned something. Or consider becoming a Patreon member to support my projects. Thank you for watching and see you next time.